Thanks for being with us. You're watching Stop Now, a social experiment enterprise. Here we stop, listen, and share as we embark on the path toward greater social well being. So, I'll be the co host for this week talk show, and I'm joined by our team, Shiva and others. And I am hoping that we are going to get more and more interesting people in our team, in our talk shows. But before we go there, let's welcome our new member and our special guest, Dr. Aman Kumar.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, welcome, Aman.
Thank you, Siva, and thank you, JK, for welcoming me.
Well, our purpose is to end human trafficking, modern slavery, address the issues of racism and any type of abuse, child abuse, domestic violence, and hoping that in our lifetime, we can put an end to it. At least we can stop those things. So what is our Stop Now motto is everyone can do something greater in their lifetime. So we are asking everyone to join us to volunteer, to support and donate. And obviously we are making this platform into an option for volunteers to get paid for their time they contribute. And it's more about leadership and scholarship and service, just like how honor societies are formed. We are truly believing in those values. So we are asking everyone to help us with your skills to change the future of our world for the betterment of the world. So if you would like to learn more about Stop Now, obviously you can visit our website. It's displayed on the screen, stop-now.org. You can find more information about our mission and projects, so which are mostly driven by our volunteers and sponsoring organizations. Back to you, Shiva, and you can host the show.
Yeah, we'll start with Aman. What do you think about how to stop uh, human trafficking? We
It is a very big question in the context of that how we can stop issue of the human trafficking, and definitely it is a very tough, critical, but also I can say that it is not impossible. If we talk about that, the if I share my the comparative analysis from being working in this field since 12 years, so earlier the level of the knowledge of the human trafficking is not as widespread, but today it is a very common word. Now each and everyone, I cannot say each and everyone, but most of the people can know the term human trafficking. So awareness, it is one of the most major things by which we can minimize the issue of the human trafficking. Educating people's involvement of the academic institution, doing more and more research. And also one of the most important thing is that the collaboration between the different organizations which are running all over the world. If there is a good network, good chance between all the organizations who are running such type of programs, such type of events, such type of projects, so by this way we can check the problem of the cross-border or international human smuggling, human trafficking issues. So networking, because the traffickers used to traffic the victims only by their networks. So why there is not a network of the such organization? So networking of the organization is one of the most major and critical things by which we can minimize the problem of the human trafficking. These are the some of the, there are more than other things by which we can stop the problem of the human trafficking.
yeah.
But these four
Okay,
elements are the
so
most common.
sorry for Aman. Like before
Yeah.
getting to the conversation, can you brief about you? Who are you, and where you are from, and something about brief about yourself? to the
Yeah,
audience?
definitely. Yeah. Yeah, my name is Dr. Aman Kumar. I am from India, currently working as a center coordinator of one of the department named Child Rights Center, Chanak National Law University, Patna, Bihar. And I am working in the field of human trafficking since 2010, when I was the student of masters, when I was doing masters from Banaras Hindu University. So since 2010, I was working in this field, and after completing my masters, I get admitted for my doctoral program. And in my doctoral program, I also selected the topic on the issue of I can say that my research topic was human trafficking between India and Nepal, with a special reference to the role of non-governmental organizations. So, in short, in brief, I can say that since 2010, I am working in the field of the human trafficking. Currently, I am also working on the different type of projects related to the child protection policies in context of India and also in context of Nepal.
Yeah, fine. Thank you. Like, we'll have another discussion. Like, is there any various kind of human trafficking is there, or a particular? It's a vast area. Human trafficking. It's a white collar human trafficking is there, and labor and child. How we differentiate like human trafficking, the whole human trafficking. How to overall we can stop the human trafficking, or particular part we will take as a child abuse or labor or white collar human trafficking. What is that? How
Before
we
we
Yeah,
go there, Aman, I have a quick question. Really
yes.
amazing profile. Wow, where were you like so
Thank you.
long? That's my take. You are a research scholar, PhD in human trafficking. That's amazing, and thank you for joining us. My question is, right? You are an expert, so how will you define human trafficking? And as Shiva asked, like, what are the different types of human trafficking?
Yes, JK, thank you for your nice compliment. And I am not expert, still I am learning, because as the technology is increasing day by day, the traffickers is also equipped with lots of technology. So in the field of the human trafficking, every day we have to learn a new way how the traffickers are working to traffic the victims. So your first question was, what is human trafficking? So as a layman, I can say that in one word, in one line, that luring any person or giving a false promise to anyone for giving him a good and better life or better jobs, but in spite of providing all these things, they just force him to do the work according to the interest of the owner or the landlord or the factory owners. So I can say that bringing a person in such a situation to just confined in a place, or mentally or psychology or physically, that they are not free to go anywhere, they're compelled to do the work according to their master. So that situation, that term is known as human trafficking. And second thing also I want to add in that defining a human trafficking in one sentence or in one paragraph is not possible, because it is a whole process. It is a good network of the different things which in which the traffickers use to traffic a victim. It is a syndicate, it is a process, it is a chain. uh, the things which I already told in my definition. And the second things which you asked me, what are the types of the human trafficking? As we know that the human itself, human in human we can say that even a woman, even a child, they are come they are also categorized as a human. So types of human trafficking, we can say that child trafficking, trafficking of a children is known as child trafficking. Women trafficking, trafficking of a women is known as a women trafficking. Girls trafficking, labor trafficking. These are the some terms, the types of trafficking. Uh, Ultimately, trafficking of any individual is known as a trafficking, but uh, according to their sex, that who is going to be trafficked, that is term is given by all the researcher, all the scholars, all the uh, organizations who are working in the fields. This is the short definition and short types of the human trafficking. And there are also some new terms are coming, that what are the purpose of the trafficking. That one also is trafficking is emerging, is that the skin rafting, trafficking for the skin rafting, that in most of the, I just see in the in the case of the Nepal and India, because that the most of the girls in the from the Nepal is being trafficked to the India for only for their skin, because the skin and the color of that Nepalese are much fair as compared to the Indian. We cannot say in all regions, but the the peoples who have good money, if they want to look fair, then they do such type of things, because this is one of the most new things which is
No, one
emerging.
thing, like talking like Aman, like is there fault among the trafficker or a victim? Because nowadays victim ready to be like they are victim. They know they are become a victim, and they purposely do the thing trafficking. They involve not only the trafficker. We can't blame only the trafficker because such white collar trafficking they voluntary they know they become a victim even though they want money and they going for trafficking. What your point on that?
If we see the this if we see this problem from the angle of the traffickers, that definitely a trafficker is well known what he is doing and what his motto and what his target. I had interviewed lots of traffickers during my research and during my different projects. They know that what they are going to do with that individual, because the most of the trafficker accepted that for transporting a one victim, a one candidate, or one child, or one girl from one place to other place, I used to get as much of money. And he also accepted that yes, I am doing a wrong thing because I am giving a false promise to that individual. And I also know that uh, what the master will do to that victims, what is the motto, what is the target. So definitely the traffickers is well known that what he is doing,
No, even
what.
though like the victim also I think only the traffickers know or the victim also know what they are doing because nowadays the modern days it's all in the internet. We are all having a smartphones and they are aware still why the problem is happening. We
Yes,
can't
definitely.
blame
See,
like
I
the
accept
traffickers.
with I accept
Yeah.
with you that yes, definitely the we all have the smartphones, we all have the internet connectivity, but still we are having not well awareness about the about the problem of the human trafficking, because if in India or in Nepal or even any part of the world, there are some places where there is a lack of awareness in context of the human trafficking. Yes, they have the mobile phones, they have the internet connectivity, but now the traffickers is also become so much advanced. Now the trafficker is used to be his or her neighbor, or even his or her family members, and even a good personality having a good placement agencies, they are also working such type of jobs. So
Yes,
ultimately,
Dr. Aman, I wanted to stop you on here, right? So what you said, again, even as a layman, right? I'm trying to spin this across what Shiva is trying to ask you. The question of even the victim knows that, right? Every individual, even as a layman, they know that like the law will protect them. If anything bad is going to happen to me, I can go to the police and I can report and I can find. So the question here then, what is the difference between smuggling and trafficking, right? It's not a human smuggling, right? It's not a olden day slavery kind of thing where people are chained and dragged and smuggled to another country and forced to do work. Everybody is in a way free on their own free will. They take this risk as an opportunity. Okay, if I don't have any opportunity, my city or my town doesn't provide me any opportunity to earn more, so I migrate and I try for better opportunity in the hope and in the dream of, like how people come to United States and even through illegal means. How do you differentiate between these smuggling and trafficking? That, if you can explain that, that will be great.
In context of the smuggling and the trafficking, I can say that is in smuggling, crossing of a border is involved. Crossing any national or any international border is termed as a as termed as a smuggling. But in context of the trafficking, there is no any involvement of, there is no any need, or I can say that it is not compulsory that the involvement of the international border will be there. Ultimately, yes, sometimes it will be an international border, but ultimately it will be a within a border. So but in smuggling, it is a mandatory that individual have to cross a international border. It may be by a proper channel, or it may be by a wrong way. That the word, as you told, that the human smuggling. Recently, we have come to know of one news also, that a family from a Gujarat has been traveling by a illegal means from different countries to reach to the, I think, England, that country was. But due to the severe cold, they were lost their life. And the trafficker were also caught by the police officials, and he also accepted that yes, it was a human trafficking, or and he also told that yes, it is a human smuggling. He used to cross the individuals by an international border by a false means, by improper channels. So this is the little bit, we can say that a very thin line of differences between human trafficking and the smuggling.
Yeah, I think even in uh, city in India, like lot of people from villages and other thing, like from there they maybe trafficking or smuggling. They getting to Bollywood or somewhere the film cities, and they say like you can be a hero or heroine. They smuggle the people from there, and all I think in Mumbai and Calcutta they have something like a prosecution area kind of thing. Why it happened? Like in human trafficking, it's an olden day stories, and still it's happening on a modern days. Is there any awareness of the people, or still people are troubling to get an awareness from them? Like what happening? Why your people are still troubling with them? You can't give an awareness for them, or what happening?
If we I am real, I accept what you want to ask and what you are saying, that yes, definitely lots of, I'm agree with you that lots of organizations are working to stop the problem of the human trafficking, but still we have this issue, and the rate of the human trafficking is also increasing day by day. And why these are happening, why these are going on, the one of the, according to my analysis or reading lots of other research papers or doing work in the field, the thing I came to say, I can say that the recently we have faced the problem of the COVID. Due to the COVID, lots of people lost their jobs, and due to the lost their job, uh, they have to uh, they have to lose their money or something like that. They have to live a very tough life. So in search of new jobs, they at present they are easily attracted towards any sort of opportunity if they are looking in any other states or any other countries. They now the peoples are taking risk. yes, some of the people know what is human trafficking, but they are also telling that yes, there are lots of law, and I know what is human trafficking, but the primary is that I have to earn money for me and my family also. So I have to take risk at this stress. And second one is that the things which you had already told me, that the attraction towards the Bollywood or Hollywood or the Tollywood. Most of the cases I came to know that most of the girls from the villages, they want to be an actress. So they easily get catch by the placement agency. At first they offer her that you have to dance for some orchestra, some bar dance, and after getting such type of training, then I will place you in a Hollywood or a Bollywood or a Tollywood. So by this way, lots of girls uh, become a victim of the human trafficking. Attraction is also there, COVID is also there, and uh, the thing is also, one important thing is that organizations are working to minimize the problem of the human trafficking, but they are working individual. They are working independently, and they do not want to collaborate with any other organizations, because now the everything comes uh, in a data form. All the funding agencies and all the things are showing, they are requesting, they are demanding that how many people you are being rescued, or what are the pattern, what are the data showing that how many people are being trafficked. So for this, things come into the
Is
data
there the
form.
problem with the government or the organization? Because they are operating separately and they don't want to touch with the government or organization, and government don't want them as a private organization. And there is a some difference between the private and government organization to give a particular awareness for the people. Why they are still troubling? Like for 50 years, this kind of trafficking is happening on like a development countries. Why is the people or government still having problem to create awareness among the people?
Well, let's talk about what we are going to do about this, right? So the question here is, for me, uh, our enterprise itself is a social experiment enterprise. So what is a social experiment? Are we aware of that? Do you have any knowledge on that? Can you talk about that?
In context of the social experiment, I can say that the if any research is working in a field with the subject, just like in the pattern of sociological or a psychological, and seeing the pattern of their reactions, that how they are reacting towards according to the problems which they are facing, is termed as a social experiment. The other angles of the social experiment is also termed as an action research, that working with the problem is known as a social experiment, or as a action research. If I am doing a research with my subject in a field, then this thing is known as a social experiment, that I have to follow, monitor, and just I can say that the just experience what they are reacting, how they are dealing with their problems, and I can also that this is also known as a ethnography, that I am sitting at a one place and seeing the behaviors, the talking, how they are dealing, how they are reacting with their problems. So this is known as the social experiment.
So the question here, Shiva, can you tell Aman about the purpose of our social experiment? What we have been doing so far?
Yeah, I think like we want to explore like the corporate world, the IT corporate world, what how they making a human trafficking in from India to US or some other country to US. Like the big corporate, they have large number of employees, but they still having a recruiter agency to recruit for their company without knowing the background check of the candidate and hiring them for a big projects, and they placing the client, the candidate to an end client without whatever the experience, they just fake a resume, whatever we have experience or knowledge, we totally fake a resume and submit to the recruiter. They do all the interview part and other thing. They get the job for us, and they place the job, and we are working on a end client, and we are getting a salary. The human trafficking, it's from the corporate to the end client without knowledge, the client candidate placing to a big corporate. It's happening so long period, and we are experimenting this as a experimental project. We are faking a resume, and we got a lot of jobs, 4 to 5 big corporate jobs, and we are still working with the corporate. How, what do you think about it?
Yeah,
Again,
I am okay. JK, please proceed.
Aman, again, what Shiva explained was what we have been doing so far, but we are struggling as such because why our question targeted towards you is like, how do we conduct a social experiment? Because you come from the research background and a PhD scholar. So do we need to find a research problem here, like, or a social problem question, and kind of defining the variables, developing the hypothesis? And we have done quite a lot of background research, as Shiva was mentioning, right? It's not just one corporate or one person faking things and getting job. There are thousands and thousands of people, like even in millions. And mostly it is, the shocking thing is, like, Indian community is trapped in this, right? 70% of the H1B visas going to the Indians. So in that, almost 50 to 60% are fraudulent. We are talking in terms of data, but then still the governments are involved in this, like they just having a blind eye. So my question to you is, like, how do we conduct this experiment, the first part, and if at all, do we need to have some standard procedures? Obviously we need to choose the participants, right? We are not forcing anybody to be like a volunteer or take part in this experiment, because they have to be a volunteer, and also they know that, like, they will be in the victim category. So how do you think we can conduct this?
Yeah, another question on it, like if I'm acting as a victim, finally, like the project will end up with some problem, and if I caught as a victim, is there any problem for me, or what is it? Because we are doing an experimental project. What happened when I am as a victim and caught by the corporate? It's an added question.
Yeah,
Again,
I
we can target that to a legal expert, because we are not legal experts in that, right? He mean to say that, like, what happens, like, if we get caught in this in
Experimental.
between,
Yeah,
right? What will be the legal position on that? Am I going to jail, or what will happen to me?
yeah, that's it. That's true.
Because I know that, like, we discussed about your field experience on doing this kind of social experiment for sex trafficking and tracking the perpetrators and traffickers.
Yeah, but
so
you have a background, some support from police or some politician or something like big. But here we are doing the experimental project without any support. That's the main thing. What do you think about it?
yes, as a common man, I can say that if anyone is being trafficked from uh, India to the other country, I am just taking an example. of any individual. And you are also adding one important thing, that the yes, it is also a type of trafficking, that if any individual is giving some sort of job, but giving a promise of some sort of money as a salary, but in respect they are not being paid, and also they are being forced to work in that situation, because that country is not his hometown. So it is also a form of trafficking, because ultimately they are being giving they has been given a false promise, and in respect it is not getting all those things, one thing. And also in the second thing, in that situation, if any victim is there, so definitely they should, at first they should contact to their embassy, and they should update all those things regarding all the things, what are the documents the company has provided to him. With all their sort of documents, they should approach to the embassy, and if their embassy, definitely the embassy will give some sort of the uh, feedback, or take some sort of action. And third thing will that if any people is in such type of situation, then they should uh, google it, or just take help of the internet, and they search what such organizations who are working in the field of the trafficking, and they try to contact their helpline numbers. They they should send some emails, or they should contact on their phone numbers and deliver, and they just tell all the problems and the issues with them. So by all these things, that individual can get some sort of help from that organizations or from that embassy. And also one thing is important, that in context of the local, any people can at first monitor and then join such organization, but in context of the international or abroad, yes, definitely, if I will be there, I will also at first attracted, oh, I'm getting such type of a beautiful opportunity to get abroad, and I will get some sort of money or something, that definitely I will grab that opportunity. But in return, if I will get not all those things, and in case my passport or visa is being kept by that company, then definitely I am going to be trapped in that situation. So in that situation, according to my knowledge, or according to my till study on these issues, contacting to the embassy or contacting to some sort of organization who are working in this field, definitely they will help in such situation.
With all due respect, Aman, uh, we know all the facts and the stories about Middle East and what happens like for the laborers over there. And there is a whole lot of human right violations and human right issues, like as you mentioned, holding the passport and a visa are a standard procedure. It has been a open secret. It's a known one, the protocol. And even in developed countries, the shocking thing is like even in the United States that is happening, and the law doesn't protect. And as you said, I don't want to be rude here, right? Excuse me, going to Indian embassy and consulate is going to solve this problem? No, definitely not. I disagree on that. I don't want to use foul language, but they are not competent. They will not do anything. They will not help anyone. I can assure you on that. We have victims and stories on that. So everybody is on their own. So that is why, like, I don't want to bring this, and I don't want to tarnish our partner as well. Even legally entered Harold D'Souza, who became a victim here, and he has been trafficked and he faced hardship and he overcome. He fought for himself in different ways through the legal channels and survived. That is the only option I see it. Otherwise, you give up and you go back. as simple as that, right? So it's like kind of self-deportation, and people are not ready to take that risk because they lose everything. They kind of gamble and bet, go on a deep debt, right? It's kind of a debt bondage. You own someone money, right? What you took money from loan sharks, and they will come after you. If you don't pay, like, you will end up in jail. So obviously for that reason, and for the guilt and shame, people are not ready to go back. So they just have to make their own decisions and fight for it. That is how I see it. But again, it's a long conversation, and we are very happy to have you. Probably we can wrap this session. We can continue our conversation and do part 2. So my question to you on a lighter note, it's not a joke, but then as a team member, right? You are volunteering and giving your services, joining our team. So what do you want to play? Like, do you want to get involved, get your hands dirty in our experiment, be a victim, or be a trafficker? What role do you want to play?
It is a very critical question that I have to think on it, that being a research, doing research in the field of the human trafficking, that what I want to be a victim, a trafficker, or being a activist organization that who are going to rescue that victim. So I just want to be a victim, because the working as a trafficker is
Sorry,
not
because it's easier.
Yeah, become
Easier,
a
and
victim.
you can put the blame on somebody else. Is that what?
Yes, I want to be a act as a victim, because if I work, if I act as a victim, then I came to know the real problems what the victim used to face if they are being trafficked. What are the main issues, and what are the psychological things which they force him to know? You have to work in such situation, and you have to go that individual for in search of that job. And also I came to know that how the trafficker is luring me to and offering me such type of a new job, and how I being get attracted toward all those things. So being a, and after rescuing, if I will be
Sorry,
rescued.
sorry, Dr. Raman. Nobody is going to come and rescue you. In this case, we
Definitely.
believe you. You are on your own, and also Shiva, probably then you are the one who is left with to be a trafficker. Nobody wants to be a trafficker.
Yes, definitely. I think so. I think being a trafficker, it will be no one going to accept things according to me. Hope so.
Well,
No, like here, I think I am ready to be a trafficker, because the recruiter company, you are saying like a recruiter, there are a lot of big shots there involved as a recruiter to make a victim. I am ready to be a trafficker, because getting up people to hire for a big corporate, if you are saying like they are all trafficker, I am ready to do it, because
Shiva
it's
is
a big corporate
assuming
job.
that like he can become a big shot by doing that. He
Yeah,
wants
yeah, yes, yeah, yes.
to be the villain in the movie.
Yeah, it's not villain. Big corporate or not villain. Maybe they are running countries. All the countries run by a big corporate.
Yes, they are portrayed as
Not
villains, right? So they are portrayed as villains always, and politicians are claiming to be heroes to save us from them, right? So
yes.
there should be a villain, and corporates are considered to be villains all over the world.
Okay,
Anyway,
let's.
we have come to a conclusion, right? Any final comments, Aman? And we really enjoyed the conversation today. Hope we will continue this good work.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I
sure.
will. I will be available for this noble cause.